Ready. All right, call this meeting back to order. We're on item number 10. Is there a motion to come back into open session?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion for the commission to come back into open session pursuant to NMSA 1978, section 12-6-5, 2009, report of forensic audit by Bailey LLP.
Okay, and I'll second that motion. Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes.
We discussed what was on the.
Oh, we're gonna do that in a minute. Let's do the coming back into open session.
Okay,
So I vote yes to come back into open session.
and yes, okay.
Okay, now, because item number 10 does say discuss and take action, do you have a motion on the report?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the commission vote to approve the forensic audit that was prepared by I Bailey LLP in regards to expenses paid to a vendor.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes. Motion carried.
Alright.
Before we go on to item number 11, I'm going to read a statement here on behalf of the commission. And of course, this date, today's date, October 11, 2022. First, the commission finds that consistent with the commission's finding on September 27th, 2022, it states that the commission hired to perform a forensic audit and address the former manager, Randy Kearns, dealing with the certain contractor, which was the subject of the overpayment by the county and the creation of a potential conflict of interest. Number 2, the hiring of the forensic accounting firm, I Bailey LLP, has been done in accordance with pertinent state law and Office of State Auditors directives. Number 3, consistent with the state law and mandate as a governing body of the county, the commission hereby adopts the forensic accounts findings and directs the forensic accounting's report to be submitted to OSA, which is the Office of the State Auditor. We just done that through a motion. Number 4, although the commission cannot make a specific comment on the ongoing investigation, this commission finds the amount of overpayment to the contractor was in excess of over $600,000. Number 5, the commission shall comply with the Office of the State Auditor's directives and shall report to the public if allowed by law and if necessary.
You guys want that in the minutes? Thank you.
So let's move on to item number 11. This is to discuss and take action on resolution 2022-43, adopting the fiscal year 2024 through 2028 infrastructure capital improvement plan, ICIP. Jonah?
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam Clerk, County Manager. Resolution number 2022-43 is adopting the FY 2024 through 28 infrastructure capital improvement plan. The changes that were recommended by the Commissioners were made. You have the capital improvement plan in front of you. The only thing that is not included in that is the request by Fire Marshal Nick Cartness. He is currently working on that. However, he found it was a little bit more involved than he initially had anticipated. He can have that probably by the end of the day. So I'm not sure if you would like to include it or if you would like to include it for next year's. I would ask for your advice.
Okay, let's first of all, let's see, we have a motion to approve resolution 2022-43, and then we'll go into any discussion. So is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the commission vote to approve resolution 2022-43, adopting the fiscal year 24 through 28 infrastructure capital improvement plan.
Okay, I'll second that motion, and we'll go into any discussion or questions, or do you have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, all of the issues I had with this have been corrected, and I have no questions.
Okay, do you wish to go ahead and adopt, or not adopt, but include, the plan for the fire marshal? Because he said he'd have it ready by the end of today. So you want that included in the ICIP, is that what you're asking for?
Mr. Chairman, do we know a ballpark of that and where it would be placed in the order? As priority levels?
It
The
would be-
ballpark number?
I think it was requested on the year 2025 project, and the dollar amount was 850,000
850,000
to be included in 2025.
in 2025. And in the order of priority, do you know what it's gonna be? Like, is it gonna be above or below Colfax County Airport maintenance?
After.
After, okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend my motion. I would like to make a motion that the commission vote to adopt resolution 2022-43 with the addition of the $850,000 for a firehouse, I guess, fire station.
Fire station, yes, sir.
And Black. And include that in the fiscal year 24 through 28 infrastructure capital improvement plan as presented by our financial specialists.
I'll second that amendment to your motion. Let me know when you're done. Do a roll call. Is there a roll call vote?
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Burnett?
Yes.
And then who's gonna?
Thank you.
Well, yeah, right, we just amended that motion. We amended that motion.
Right, so we have to vote on the amendment, then we have to vote on the amended motion. So that vote should have been for the amendment.
So now we're
Okay,
gonna.
so let's do a roll call vote for to pass resolution 2022-43.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Burnett?
Yes. Okay. Item number 12, discuss and take action on amendment to professional service contract between Abe Balsamo and Company in Colfax County. This is at the, for the jail, right? For the detention
Yes,
center.
sir, yes. There's just a little correction in the verbiage, and I highlighted where the correction will be,
Okay.
and you have in front of you what it's supposed to be, so we're just changing this yellow section. So basically, it's gonna read, instead of what it says on the contract and it's highlighted in yellow, it's gonna say conduct crisis intervention or referral of acute psychiatric episodes.
Okay, this one says and management.
No, that's the old one, and management. We're correcting it with the amendment, the one that you have in your packet.
Okay, so that would be number 3.
Yes, sir.
Conduct crisis intervention and referral.
Mm-hmm.
That would take the place of this one.
And management, yes.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the commission vote to approve the amendment to the professional services contract between Abe Balsamo and Company and Colfax County.
I'll second that motion, roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Burnett?
Yes.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Okay, item number 13, discuss and take action, add new members to Colfax County Airport Advisory Committee. Okay.
And that's gonna be me, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chairman. We did have an unofficial meeting, I think, on the, at the airport. We didn't have a quorum, but I will report that it was a very positive meeting and that the airport advisory group are definitely on board with our direction to do an RFP and try to get professional management of that airport. So I think the good news is we are all on the same page. I would like to recommend to the board today that Jeff Carr, the mayor of Eagle Nest, and myself be appointed to members of that committee, the airport committee.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, do we need to vote on them separately or can we vote on them together?
I would, you can vote on them together.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the commission vote to appoint Mayor Jeff Carr of Eagle Nest and Commissioner Gore to the Airport Advisory Committee.
County manager.
What I say?
Commissioner.
Oh, sorry, I'm the manager.
Okay.
Gore.
I'll second that motion. Let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes. Congratulations, you're on another board.
Yes, thank you very much.
Item number 14, discuss and take action, First Amendment to Local Government Road Fund Cooperative Agreement between New Mexico Transportation Department and Colfax County, control number L534. Robert?
Chairman, Commissioners, Manager Gore. I came before you a while back and got the resolution from you to ask permission to extend it, and this is the paperwork to be signed and sent back to them, granting the one-year extension.
And is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the commission vote to approve the First Amendment to Local Government Road Fund Cooperative Agreement between New Mexico Transportation Department and Colfax County, control number L400534.
Second that motion. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes.
There's three of them.
Item number 15, discuss take action, again, First Amendment to Local Government Road Fund Cooperative Agreement to New Mexico Transportation Department, Colfax County, control number L400541.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the commission vote to approve the First Amendment to Local Government Road Fund Cooperative Agreement between New Mexico Transportation Department and Colfax County, control number L400541.
Roll call vote. Oh, I'll second that, sorry.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes. Okay, last one. Discuss take action, this is item number 16, First Amendment to Local Government Road Fund Cooperative Agreement between New Mexico Transportation Department and Colfax County, control number L400548. Your motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for the commission to approve the First Amendment to Local Government Road Fund Cooperative Agreement between New Mexico Transportation Department and Colfax County, control number L400548.
Second that motion, roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Item number 17. Discuss take action on an MOU, memorandum of understanding between the village of Angel Fire and Colfax County. This is a pledge in the form of a check and amount of $40,000. We have 4 or 5 of them here. These are all for the monies that were taken out of the escrow agreement, out of the hospital. The hospital had given the county, which was back then Miners Hospital in northern Colfax County, back in 1986. Under this trust agreement, there was an escrow agreement put together, and that money was put in escrow in a bank at the International State Bank. A few months back, we decided to help out the different villages in the amount of $40,000 apiece. I think now we've included the city of Raton, And that is to go towards, EMS services, that they needed help and training and different stuff like that, so we also get into the city of Ratone's in here, so. Is there a motion? We actually have one, two, well, I guess we have to do it individually, okay. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question for the manager before I make a motion. Have we ran these agreements by the local municipalities? The only reason I ask is, to me, they seem reasonable considering, we are contributing to their EMS funds that we aren't obligated to do so. We're doing it because we understand that these services that the municipalities provide are very important to the public health and safety of our constituents. There are some reporting requirements in this, and I just was wondering if you got any feedback as to whether they saw that as any type of impedance or challenge.
I have not received any communication from any of them about having any issues whatsoever.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion on a memorandum of understanding between the Village of Angel Fire and Colfax County for EMS services.
I'll second that motion. Let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez?
Yes. Next one, number 18, is the same MOU understanding between the Village of Cimarron and Colfax County. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for the commission to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Village of Cimarron and Colfax County for EMS services.
Why don't we say the amount to it? They're each $40,000.
They're each 40, it's being paid out in two tranches, so 80% right away and the final 20% after they complete their second report.
Okay, I'll second that motion. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez?
Yes. Next one is the same memorandum of understanding between the Colfax County, the County of Colfax and Eagle Nest Village. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like the commission to vote to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Eagle Nest Village and Colfax County for EMS services.
I'll second that motion. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez?
Yes. Okay, next one, discuss take action on MOU between City of Raton and Colfax County.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for the commission to vote to approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Raton and Colfax County for EMS services.
I'll second that, roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez?
Yes. Last one, number 21, discuss and take action, MOU between Town of Springer and Colfax County. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the commission vote to approve memorandum of understanding between the town of Springer and Colfax County for EMS services.
I'll second that motion, and roll call vote.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez?
Yes. Also want to thank you, County Manager, for getting these together. I know they've been waiting for that money, so thanks for getting them done.
More than welcome, sir.
Okay, item number 22, discuss the quarterly department updates. You want to give one on the Angel Flyer, airport, or?
Certainly do that.
Okay.
As everybody is aware, the county went out RFP to see if we could find somebody to work with us in a very positive way to manage the airport. The county has been managing the airport since 1983, and since that time, the county has not made any profit on the airport. So I think it behooves us look at if something isn't working, let's re-examine it and see if we can get it to work. We did get a proposal from Angel Fire Resort and entered into negotiation with them. They have withdrawn their offer at this point. However, we are still, the attorneys are in active negotiation. The one issue is that the airport is in need of a lot of infrastructure repair. The resort is willing to take that on as far as building and adding to the airport. However, with that, they wanted a longer term. So I know the contracts, the attorneys are looking at modifying the agreement so that the resort can have that airport for a longer period of time to realize some profit after putting in what would be sort of millions of dollars worth of infrastructure. So that's kind of where that is. We did have a meeting with the, I had a meeting with the Airport Advisory Committee. I think that meeting went very well. And I'm very pleased to report to the commission that we are all on the same page. I think we all realize that we have an incredible airport, and that with the right partnership, we can grow that airport into a business, and that business would actually have positive economic growth, specifically for the Angel Fire and Eagle Nest community. And so I think we have the potential to look at a win-win-win situation, and we're moving forward on that.
Any questions from Commissioner Weir on the report of the Angel Fire Airport? Seeing none, do you have anything else you want to report on?
I will just say that the manager's office is up to, we have every position filled, and we I want to thank Jonah and Susie and Danielle specifically. I think they have a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, and we're taking on additional responsibilities that they really didn't have time to do. I think with the full complement of staff, we are moving forward with lodger's tax. We are moving forward, as reported earlier in this meeting and previous meetings, with the E911 GIS corrections. I know I've been working with the state, and of the 5,000 entries that were made, 2,000 had mistakes. And so we are actively engaged in teaching Tabitha and Virginia that system, and not only teaching them the old system, but actually upgrading to a new sophisticated system that I think Commissioner Weir should even address some of the issues and some of the challenges that you have brought up today. It's a more sophisticated system. I'm very proud of those two. They are actively engaged, and they're actually having a lot of fun moving forward in that, and they're making progress. We, as reported, now that we actually have a solid waste coordinator, we've been going back and billing people appropriately. We've been following up and building a database on citizens and residences and who lives there, so we can charge people for the solid waste services. And I do think that when we get this fully operable, we're going to be recovering a lot of lost revenue that the county had not seen. So I think we're moving forward there. And I also want to thank Tina. I think Tina's been doing an outstanding job with lodger's tax and organizing the committee and organizing the financial reporting, so that things are really beginning to run like a well-oiled machine. And we continue to, I think, make progress and move forward at a very fast pace.
Any questions, Commissioner? None? Anything else? Seeing none, Tina, do you want to do a lodger's tax report, or do you want me to just kind of give a summary here? I can do that.
Okay.
So Tina gave us a copy of the lodger's tax, now that she's in charge of that. From July through September, there were some expenses. They pay out, just for y'all knowledge, 10% of what's in the coffers there is used for administration purposes, or basically for our hourly wage. And I'll just read a couple, in August, they paid off 40% promotional, which was 11,375.18. 60% went to a non-promotional, which is $17,062.75. The end of September, being that we're now in October, 40% went to promotional, $8,238.52. 60% went to non-promotional, $12,357.77. So the payouts, looks like there was no expenses in September, but August payout was $1,500 to New Legends Productions, Colfax Tavern 2021-2022, $510 to Curtis Wolosh, Colfax Tavern Hodgepodge 2022-2023. So the quarterly totals that were paid out was $90,781.87. So administration, there was $9,078.18. Promotional was $32,681.49, and non-promotional was $49,022.20. So the only question that I have, Tina, is when's your next meeting?
We're scheduled for one, it's the first Monday of the month, so it'd be November, and I don't even know what that date is, but it's the first Monday of the month.
Okay. You just meet once a month?
Yes,
Okay.
we didn't have one now in October because we didn't have anything on the agenda to discuss.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
may I ask what the balances are for Rogers tax right now? The cash balances, you know?
That would be what's recorded on there in the quarterly.
This shows expenditures, right?
The very bottom of it, it should be the
I
dollar
didn't- I
amount.
didn't see a balance.
This really shows the expenses, that's what I read out as far as administration, promotional and non-promotional. Do you know what the balance is, how much money's in there left now, do you know that?
90,781.87.
That's not the quarterly, that's a revenue for the quarter?
Yes, yes.
But that, below that, you show administration, promotional, and non-promotional, and those three numbers add up to the quarterly totals. So I assume that quarterly total was the total for the expenditures for the quarter, not the revenue.
So that quarterly total is just the amount dollars brought in, it doesn't include the negative, the payouts.
So out of the 9781, you paid out 49,000 on non-promotional and 32,000 for promotional, and then the 10% is 9,000.
That's what we have in there, it's not, nothing we didn't pay out, that's just splitting it up by the percentage amounts. That's what's available to spend.
Okay, you have,
Okay, so below, I'm sorry, Mr. Lee. So below the 90,000, which is the total, you're showing how much we can spend of that 90,000 in each of those categories.
Yes.
Okay, that wasn't clear. Thank you.
and you have to spend that by when?
You
If not, you gotta turn it back in.
Correct, you have 2 years to spend that money.
All right. Any other questions? Anybody else want to give a report? I see that I have one of the Gil Molinaro Detention Center.
Good morning, Chairman.
Morning.
Commissioner, and County Manager. Just a quick update. We did get approved and sent out application for accreditation. Got approved in August. So we have 2 years from that date to be approved through the New Mexico counties. We are still working on that. There's a few other things that have to be done prior to doing that, but that will get taken care of within the time limit. We have, just money, budget-wise, we're doing pretty good on our budget. We did bring in, as you guys should have in front of you, a little over 450,000 for this quarter, in revenue. I've had some trainings going on. Lieutenant Garcia, went for training for trainers, so she can do a 40-hour training. I also do have one of my officers went out for, verbal de-escalation. So now he can train my officers in verbal de-escalation. We also have, all our staff are trained by the state police on suicide prevention. And we also have, just because we needed a majority of them to work on the floor, half our staff were trained on sexual harassment in the workplace from New Mexico counties. So we are in line with where we need to be for accreditation. And any questions?
I don't have any questions. Looks like the, I'm looking at the daily average between 65 and 70. How many do we have as of today?
I actually didn't look. Do you know where we're at now? I don't. I think we're at 61 or 62. And that's usually been our average. If we look, we have actually less from our county and more total for the other counties. So our county, our average, give me 1 second to do that. So right now, well, as of my report, let's see, we have 19 out of county holds. So out of that, 19 of those are minimums. So, we're not totally full. We still do have some room, but.
Mr. Chair, go ahead. Mr. Manager, Madam Warden, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to do it, but I would like to request an update on policies in relation to prisoners in reflection of the tragedies that occurred approximately a year ago. I know that we have made changes, and I would just like, I would like them to be put before the public if that's okay.
Do you have that information?
I know, that we have put in specifics when they are put in a single cell. County manager, former warden, put in place, that they always get a bottle of water, there's always water available, they get that bottle of water.
If it would help, Commissioner, I think I have that report in my office.
Yeah, I don't have it on me.
Bring it back and kind of share that with you now. If you like.
That'd be great. I don't know that we have to slow down these proceedings, Mr. Manager. You can present that after the meeting.
Okay, that was fine.
But at some point, I just think, what I really after here is for the public to know that we have taken steps and that,
What I can say, Commissioner Weir, is that we take this situation very seriously. And we completed a series of action reports based on essentially what we can do better, how we can make it better. We've actually developed very specific training for officers. We've titled it Situational Awareness Training, where we have taken videos of similar situations throughout other jails, specifically in the state of New Mexico, and are training officers what to look for when somebody's in crisis. One of the things that I did observe in reviewing this incident is that we had officers making rounds like they should. We had officers looking at the at this individual, observing this individual. However, none of the officers that were seeing him observed that he was in crisis. And as an experienced law enforcement officer myself, with decades of experience, I could tell immediately upon reviewing video that this gentleman was in crisis. And what we hope to do is, as younger officers come in, they were seeing what was occurring, but they weren't recognizing what was occurring. And so we have went into very detailed situational awareness training that all officers are trained. And I think we've even mentioned that we would make that training available to other counties within New Mexico as well. I think it is excellent training to show when a person is beginning to experience crisis. Some of the other things that we have done is we've actually went into the medical part of it, the assessment. And now there's going to be a requirement that the booking officer, especially if somebody comes in that's under drug, under what we believe to be drugs, narcotics, or alcohol, that information is communicated to the medical staff. So that medical staff and security staff are reporting what the behavior of any of these new inmates coming in is for the assessment. And I think that's valuable information that medical staff can utilize in working to see if they're going to be suffering from withdrawal, alcohol withdrawal, or drug withdrawal. And some of the other things that we have done is we created a 5-minute, 15-minute, and 30-minute assessment even for the master control operator. So when we have somebody in that soft room, and once again, that's a cell where people may injure themselves, and we don't want that to happen, that they have to make, and this is anytime anybody's in there, a 15-minute report from the master control, which is something new. And the reason for that is in master control, you have an array of cameras. And so a lot of times you're putting a lot of pressure on the officer to constantly monitor open doors, closed doors, monitor all these systems. What it forces them to do under this new law is to specifically look at that camera in the soft cell so that they have to observe what is taking place in there. We've also created, went from a 30-minute round to a 15-minute round. And some of the other changes is that we have always made, we're making sure now that there is water constantly available, since there isn't water available in the cell. It's basically it's a rubberized cell for people so that they don't injure themselves. But when you have that type of environment, especially in the hot months, it also acts as insulation. And so if you're working hard or you're having issues, you need to continue hydrating yourself. And so I think we have actually exceeded a lot of some of the mandates in regard to these issues. But once again, we want to do the absolute best job we can, especially when we're managing inmate offenders. So those are some of the changes that we have.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, Mr. Chairman. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. I just want to be aware that we recognize the need for enhanced policies, and we've already taken significant steps to enhance our policies in that regard, and that I'm sure it's something that's going to be ever evolving as technology changes and situations change. But that's what I wanted to basically be on record, that we do recognize that, and that steps have been taken to improve that situation.
We have, and I think the board is actually working on a new monitoring system right now with a vendor that will electronically verify that rounds are being made by the officer. And you can actually include notes and observations and stuff like that as well. So we're utilizing some of the old basics, just rounds, and training as far as what to observe when somebody's in crisis. And we're also utilizing technology to verify that those rounds are being made.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you for the report. Appreciate it. Robert.
I'd just like to add to the report that I sent you guys that after a year running 3 and 4 people shy, I have the last position, I have a young man or a man coming to test for us Thursday. So hopefully we can get this last position filled so we can start getting a little more done. And just what, for Mason Bigton's junior division, or your area road, the bridge up there behind the TO, we have all the metal cut and ready to be put on that bridge that keeps losing its deck. So we'll be getting that done too. So if you have any calls, that's where we're at. We took a while getting all pieced together, but it's ready to go too. So,
Yeah, and that's a bridge that's been washed out 2 years in a row
Yeah.
with these rains, and I was up there last year, when it got washed out. I went up there with Robert, and this year County Manager Gore went up there, and I had instructed Robert last year to order the parts, the metal, but it was very, very expensive. So what they did was they just gathered up all the wood, and whatever was washed out, and it took them a couple of weeks to put it back together, but they done that, and I'm glad that the county manager stepped in and went up there, looked at it, and instructed Robert, order the material, the metal, and get it done, which is good that, once we get all that in, I don't think it'll get washed out again. So,
shouldn't.
yeah, it should get washed out, so I think the ranchers and the TO should be happy about that. We said earlier, government does move slow, but we're gonna, I'm glad you're gonna get that fixed and get it done with Robert, so.
That's why I wanted to let you know, but that way if you get any calls, it's sitting on my shop floor now, ready to go. So,
Okay, good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Robert, again, I'd also like to thank you for those reports that you do for us monthly. It gives me a good sense of what's going on in our roads department, but more than that, it gives me the ability to respond to our constituents' concerns about roads.
Yes, sir.
I can go look at that report and say when something's been done as opposed to, having to track somebody down. So I find that very beneficial. I also want to thank you for your team's work on the vehicles at the airport. I know that's out of your scope, and you pitched in, and I just want you to know that we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. Who's next, Red? You wanna give a
I'll go
report?
ahead and give mine. So we've been pretty steady in the clerk's office, we've issued 17 marriage licenses, 10 more business registrations, 13 probates, we recorded 1,085 documents, making approximately 26,500 on that. We continue to update the webpage with our minutes. We've collected for copies of the microfilm, 6,600, I have too many numbers in there. 6,537 we come to the commission meetings and we have prepared a lot of minutes lately. We are preparing for the general election. We did go in and certify our voting machines on October the 3rd. We have received probably 10 to 12 HIPAA requests wanting voting information. A lot of it we did not have, and some of it could not be released. So we have done our destruction for the general 2020 and the primary 2020 election stuff that we could get rid of. We did do the destruction. We've set up the mobile voting. It'll run October 22nd, 10 to 4 in Angel Fire, October 27th, 10 to 4 in Eagle Nest, October 28th from 10 to 4 in Cimarron at Village Hall. October 29th will be at Luna Community College in Springer from 10 to 4. And November the 1st, we will be at the Maxwell School Auditorium from 10 to 2. Today, we did start early voting while we were down there. The girls were pretty busy. So far, we'd already, I think, had 5 voters. We had 2 of them ready here this morning before 7 o'clock. We have assigned all the polling officials, and everybody has confirmed that they will work for us. And election school is scheduled for October the 19th at 2 p.m. up here in the office. I was out ill last week with COVID. I want to thank my chief deputy and staff for the job that they did while I was out. They picked up and went on and did quite a bit of stuff while I was out. So thank you, Sarah, and the staff. I want to thank the maintenance department for helping us get our shelf into the office. We do have to have all our voting registrations in a fireproof cabinet, so we did order a cabinet, and maintenance did come in and help. So I'm not sure who else helped Sarah, but I know that maintenance did. And then we are, as I mentioned with the IPAs, we are moving forward. There's a lot of stuff going on about the machines not being certified and so on and so forth. We have not had any issues. Everything is still a go in New Mexico with our machines. So we did ours, no problems, and with the information we're handing out to you guys is coming from the Secretary of State's office. So
And that's one of the questions that I asked, we talked to Rihanna just to make sure all the way, is I got emails to me saying that these Dominion machines are not certified by the state or the feds, and that we need to put a stop to it, and that the vote should be done by paper only, and so I talked to Rihanna this morning, and I don't know if Commissioner, you're getting those emails, but I did. You have? And, but I talked to Rihanna, she said everything was certified by the state, and they're good to go, so.
And we did mail out over 260 absentee ballots that went out in the mail today. So we are up and running, commissioners. I talked to the manager about some kind of security for us in here. I'm hoping we don't have any problems, and I really don't foresee any in our county. But, you know, we'll push forward with that. And I believe that's all I have to report at this time, if you have any questions for me.
I don't, Commissioner.
No, sir.
And one more thing, we are gonna have the canvas, election day falls on our regular day to have a commission meeting, so, we will not be able to attend a meeting, and we do have this room up here, so, as where my absentee board meets. So I would request that we maybe move the meeting to the following, preferably Monday, so we could do our canvas that day, but it's up to you guys.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead.
don't we typically only have one meeting? Is it the first, in this case Tuesday?
Should be
Meeting
November 8th.
is the only meeting we have, right?
Right, and one in December.
And one in December.
I'm not sure if we're gonna do it the 8th or the 22nd, probably the 8th.
Well, we need to have our canvas the following week after the 8th.
So the vote is on the 2nd of November.
No, it's on the 8th,
It's on the 8th.
right. So the following week, Do we
Do it
have
the
a-
15th.
do we have a holiday on that Thursday? So then it would, so the 15th would be a Tuesday or
I don't know, we probably need to put on next meetings, on the 25th, we need to put that on the agenda.
Because I would prefer that we get our canvas and everything done, the sooner the better for us on Monday.
I could probably do it the 15th, then,
Okay.
if that's okay with Commissioner Weir and Commissioner.
15th works for me.
But it looks like we might have to have that on the agenda for next meeting, changing the date. Dina. So that should be on the 25th. Will be our next scheduled meeting. Okay, thank you, Aaron.
And one more thing, we are planning, it's been a long couple of 2 years for us, and we are looking at possibly doing a Christmas party for the county staff and commission, elected officials. So, in December, but we are gonna have a meeting and we will get back to you guys on that.
As long as it's all donations and no.
Well, yes, it'll be a donation, we will pay for, we'll collect what we need to pay for our meals and stuff.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else want to give a report, Nick? We want to leave you out there.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Manager, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. So just to bring you up to snuff on a few of the projects that we've got going for the county fire departments. First big one is, of course, the Abbott substation flooring. We've kind of been battling that one for quite some time. We finally were able to get in a contractor that will come in and seal this floor for us and make sure that we're going to have some longevity for that fire station. So looking forward to getting that project completed. We were able to finally get a brand new roof on our Valverde station up in Moreno Valley. We've had several leaks there. We're finally able to find a break in the weather to get that taken care of. So that was a huge win for Mr. Bruce Jasmine. Working on this ICIP. This is the first ICIP I've ever worked for on a county level. It's pretty intense, so I'm going to have to work with Julie to get some information and try to finish that document up today for you, but it's looking good. State fire grants. Out of the 9 departments, we've got 9 of them applying for some of these grants. We're looking at anything from trucks to personal protective gear to facilities. So lots of requests out there for money. We've got a couple of departments put in for the state forestry grants. I've also put in for a wildland coordinator to find funding to help us hire some more help to get a lot of these projects taken care of. Had some whole discussions with Mr. Weir. I think that's a good way for the county to start moving forward to get some of these other items taken care of. Let's see. The annual building inspections are coming due. Probably going to be visiting departments in the next couple of weeks, so be prepared for that. We're going to be checking everything from your fire extinguishers to your smoke detectors to fire alarms, whole 9 yards. So be prepared for that. Working with the road department, thank you, Mr. Robert. We're trying to move some storage containers to 3 of our fire stations. So appreciate that help. And last but not least, we're currently working on 2 brand new wildland trucks with one of our local vendors for Farley. They're getting really close to completion and looking forward to getting those in fleet. So that's it. I'm open for any questions.
Just out of curiosity, at what point do you say, okay, we have enough equipment? I just see that, like the police departments and the insurance departments, and they're always asking for all kinds of vehicles, and then I see all these tanks, not tanks, they look like tanks, but you see all these different pieces of equipment, that look like they're in the National Guard or something. At what point does the county say, or the fire say, we have all these, we have enough equipment, or is that a continuing thing that?
Well, we try to maintain a good rotation of our equipment. Right now, our biggest shortfall is manpower. It's hard to get volunteers to volunteer. We've got a few departments we've got a truck for just about every member of their department, and that's not good either. So we need to continue recruitment and trying to get more guys in. But as far as the trucks are concerned, the county's in pretty darn good shape. We try to keep up on that and make sure that we're rotating everything within a 20-year cycle. So we're trying to get the newest technologies out there. We want to bring the best possible equipment to anybody's emergency. So we try to stay on top of that for sure.
Now, as far as the Abbott fire station with the flooring, I went out there with you to look at that. Is the contractor paying for that, or are we paying for that?
Well, we've held back $23,000, and we're holding his feet to the fire and making him make that good for the county. Right now, we're verbal conferences with him and making sure that we're getting it taken care of and taken care of properly.
What's the estimate on fixing that floor then?
About $16,000. So we're well below what the final bill should be. So we're looking forward to getting that tidied up and closed up and put it away in the books.
All right, good job. You became a negotiator, huh?
Well, seems like we gotta be some. Yes, sir. All right.
Any questions? No? Thank you, Nick.
You bet.
Anybody else? Anita? Come on, Anita doesn't know what's going on.
Good morning, Commissioners, County Manager. Thanks so much for having me, and I did ask for a forwarding if you were to call me up, but that's okay. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I wanted to say thank you for your partnership. The State of New Mexico awarded Grow Raton the coveted certification as an official economic development organization, so we're really stoked about that. And that is a $400,000, up to $400,000 funding over the next 10 years. So obviously we will have our fund MOU to be looking at as soon as they send that to us, contract of, things that they want to see us performing. And of course that will be in continuing efforts in partnership with the county as well as the other, probably smaller towns that we really haven't had the opportunity to reach out to. So if there's anything that we might be able to assist with or be at the table and show support and partnership with you in the efforts that the county is making, please let us know. We are definitely on the radar for the state and they want to see us do well. We're very excited about that. So.
Any questions, Commissioner? I have a
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
I have, I guess, one or two. So we have put in for $1 million grant for the rodeo ground area. Where are we on that?
That is a great question. I will have to defer that to the county manager at this moment. So after this meeting, I was hoping to see if we had an update on that.
Okay, all right.
But unfortunately, Grow Raton is not the one on the actual grant. That is the county that did, put in for that with Molson Corbin. So I was hoping to hear something by the end of September. I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but we will be following up with Brian shortly, I'm sure.
Okay. I'm just kind of curious because, it seems to me that we have a big group, I'm going to say this, put this in the back of your mind.
Okay.
We have a big group, about 70 to 80 people that are actually playing pickleball now.
Yeah.
And they're actually got kicked out of the convention center, mainly because the floors are wood flooring and they don't want any tape on there. So I think at some point we need to look at, some kind of, some courts of some sort. Maybe on we have the rodeo grounds, and if that could be included in that $1 million, it's about $300,000-$400,000 to put 3 or 4 courts out there with lighting and everything else that we've checked into. Being that it's an event center, and I don't know if we can work together with Tina as far as some of that money be used for that, with the larger stacks, or it can be used?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent idea. And County Manager Gore and I had a medium-sized conversation about a strategic plan to grow that particular piece of property, which I think would be an excellent investment for the county. A lot of people always say, and we're going to hear it over and over until we actually address the question, what is there to do in Raton? Well, let me tell you. And that would be a huge asset for the county to invest in. I personally, as an economic developer, that is something I would love to be able to put on our agenda. There's also, and we can have this conversation a little bit further, but Patricia Duran might be reaching out to the county commission as well to discuss the efforts currently that will actually promote the entire area, not just Colfax, but there could be a very large partnership that could occur shortly.
I think that'd be great if we somehow include that in the future, keep that in mind, so.
Absolutely. The $1 million grant, I believe, is for infrastructure, obviously for the bathroom upgrades, as well as, just getting in some new windows and some other infrastructure and a kitchen that the people that are currently seeking to use that facility can actually utilize to a larger capacity.
Yeah, the lighting, I'm sure the lighting is included in there also. Because it was built basically for dancing, so you can't see what they can dance. It looks better after a couple more periods. But they really lighting in there, it's pretty dark.
I'll leave that out.
Lighting, they done that for a reason.
Very good.
And anyway, thank you, appreciate that. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I really
That's
appreciate your.
You're good.
Listen to you all the time at KRTA, you're okay.
Great. Thank you.
You keep them in line down there. Anybody else? Hearing none, let's move on to,
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
I do have a question. Aren't the assessor and the treasurer and sheriff supposed to provide quarterly reports at this time?
they are, yeah. I don't know where they're at.
And were they informed ahead of time that we were doing our quarterly reports?
I think we have, I don't know that they were specifically informed on this one, the quarterly reports were due. I know that, most departments have the science when those reports are due and when they need to be reported on.
Maybe what we need to do is, send them an email, county manager, let them know that they were missing the day and that, the commission would like to hear a report from them.
Thank you.
Next meeting. We can do that.
I can't.
Alright. So item number 23, how many paperwork will be, there was supposed to be a presentation? Oh, you're here, okay.
Mr.
The
Chairman.
National Veterans Wellness and Healing Center. Sorry it's taking this as long to get to you.
Thank you, Chairman Fernandez. Commissioner Ware, Clerk Trujillo, and Manager Gore for inviting me today. I'm Chuck Howe. I'm the founder and the president of the National Veterans Wellness and Healing Center in Angel Fire. Our mission is to brief veterans with spouses, partners, or support people suffering from post-traumatic stress. We've conducted 42 seven-day retreats in northern New Mexico since 2009 at no cost to the veteran couples. That includes 815 participants. Of those, 420 were veterans and 395 were partners. The state legislature appropriates money to the state behavioral health budget for New Mexico veterans and their spouses. Initially in 2009, we competed for that money. We received a 4-year contract. We completed that 4-year contract, and we are now in the 3rd year of the next 4-year contract. The State Behavioral Health Department has been extremely supportive of our state's veterans. We've also privately raised money for veteran couples from 28 other states. So during a retreat, we hold classroom sessions most mornings where the couples are given a number of tools to help them manage their post-traumatic stress. Each couple also gets private counseling, massage therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic care, Reiki, nutrition training, yoga, art therapy, equine experience, Native American healing ceremonies, and a visit to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Angel Fire. We're the only nonprofit in the United States that uses this model of a veteran and a spouse or support person. The reason that we do that is because it does little good to take a veteran who's had post-traumatic stress, maybe as far back as Vietnam. They're living with a spouse or support person who has just as much post-traumatic stress as they do. That's why we bring both of them in. So when the veteran goes home, they go home with somebody that's had equal access to working on their post-traumatic stress. So during COVID-19, we were not able to hold retreats. The state behavioral health department permitted us to use the money we would have used for retreats for what we call continued care. That's for the veteran couples around the state. This allowed us to provide many of the things that we would have normally done during that week if they'd have been with us. It also helped us stay in touch with those veterans and find out how they were doing and what additional help they might need. For evaluation, we use the same criteria that the Department of Defense does to measure our program effectiveness. During March, this past March 2022, the Cicero Group evaluated our results and reported that 83% of all participants experienced a significant decrease of 10 points or more in their post-traumatic stress from day 1 to day 7. We evaluate those individuals day 1, day 7, 6 months, and a year after, as we keep track of their progress. One event that I want to highlight, that's back a while back in 2011, we were contacted by the Oprah Winfrey Network. They came to Angel Fire, they did an hour-long program, and they show that on the OWN network and on the History Channel periodically throughout the country. Over the past few years, Harry Patterson, a Vietnam veteran, and his wife Brenda donated 18 acres of land and a modular building located immediately adjacent to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Angel Fire. This donation allowed us to approach the New Mexico Finance Authority, whose board of directors recently approved a $1.29 million loan, which will allow us to build our own facility. Once the 7-year loan is paid back, we'll be able to do twice as many couples for the same amount of money. So it lets us double the output for the number of veterans and couples that we support. This money will allow us to acquire 15 cabins for participants and staff and build a 10,000 square foot community building that will house a commercial kitchen, dining facility, classrooms, 10 therapy rooms, laundry and maintenance and storage. The NMFA loan and other donations that we have will allow us to be operational no later than the spring of 2024. However, we'll continue to raise money to expand our facility after that. During the time that we're not holding retreats, these cabins will be leased with priority to veterans and then to other individuals. This will raise the required funds to pay the interest and principal on the NMFA loan. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today, and I'll stand for questions.
Any questions, Commissioner Ward?
Mr. Howell, do you have an estimate of the amount of revenue that your events bring into the state of New Mexico? Or let me tie that down a little tighter into Colfax County. Because I assume beyond just, I know your services are provided for free, but people come in for these services and then stay for vacation and do other things in Colfax County. And have you been able to put a number on that? What kind of revenue that generates?
So it varies in different years, but we get anywhere from $120,000 to $350,000 a year for behavioral health for the retreat. So that money is spent for lodging, for food, salaries, that sort of thing, directly back into the county. And then as a result of the individuals coming, they also spend money. So I don't know how much that indirect amount is, but once we build this facility, that amount's going to increase significantly for Colfax County.
You know, if through survey or whatever, however, I'm not sure the best way to approach that, but it would be an interesting number to know. What kind of revenue that your program brings into the county? So
We're starting in 2024, we'll move to 8 retreats a year, then we'll move to 12, and eventually we'll be at 24 of those a year. So if we're bringing in 9 to 12 couples for each of those retreats, I'm not doing the math at the moment, but I can just tell you, it's going to be a large number in terms of economic development.
and your facilities are located in unincorporated Colfax County, is that correct?
That's correct.
So my recommendation would be for you to talk to our staff that run the lodger's tax and see if there's any way the lodger's tax could be utilized to help you promote your services.
We can
You certainly
look
would
into
qualify
that.
as far as being in the unincorporated
Yes.
portion of the county.
So I will also add to that, I'm also on the board of the David Westfall Veterans Foundation, which is the Vietnam Memorial. As all of you know, we also have a cemetery adjacent to that. So we have a very nice veterans complex now in that area. And in terms of revenue development, that's huge. For example, on the Bricklaying Day, which is the first Saturday in September, we have over 1,000 people walk through the memorial. A lot of those people are here for 3 days. They spend money on food and lodging. As all of you are aware, with Run for the Wall, they come through here generally around May 20th or so. They stop in Raton. So countywide, that veterans complex is a big economic driver. I don't know the number, but.
And beyond that, Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say that, you know, my father was a Korean War Marine veteran, and it was one of his proudest things. I mean, he still wore his gunny hat, and he still wears it today. So the Marines was a big part of his life, and I can tell you that when, you know, my father has severe dementia at this point, so but as he was starting to develop dementia, we had a brick laid at the memorial for him. And I can tell you, it was the most excited I'd seen him in years. How proud he was to have his brick there on the walkway going into the memorial. So it's beyond the revenue opportunities, I think, that we have with these agencies. The morale that it adds to our community, I think, is hugely significant. So, Mr. Allen, I'd like to thank you for all you do in serving our veterans and in serving our community.
Thank you, thank you. So we lay a minimum of 500 bricks per year, and we've now just completed 7,000 bricks at that facility. So we've honored a lot of veterans and their families. So.
Just kind of curiosity, do you get a lot of veterans that are actually police and firefighters in this wellness center?
We don't, but what we're going to do is once we open that facility I described, is we're going to start holding separate sessions for law enforcement, firefighters, and EMS, and we're gonna specifically recruit them. We also, in addition to the post-traumatic stress that we do for veterans in general, we do specialized classes for some veterans.
That's good to hear, because I'm aware of some wellness centers or center in Colorado, specifically for firefighters and police officers.
Yes, there are some, and we will add those as we get the space to do it. And we'll recruit throughout the whole state of New Mexico for that.
Well, that's good to hear, Mr. Oliver. I want to thank you also for your service and everything that you're doing for this wellness center.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming and giving us a report.
Thank
That
you.
was very interesting.
And I learned a lot here today.
And I don't remember who slowly. Do you have, can we get a copy of your report?
There you go.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, let's move on to item number 24, Commissioner's docket. What do you have there, Commissioner Leader?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to quickly give you an update that the Cimarron Watershed Alliance, on Thursday last week, or Friday, submitted a grant request to the U.S. Forest Service for about $8,300,000 to do forest thinning in the unincorporated areas of Colfax County. So this does not include like the Village of Angel Fire. I'm not sure if they submitted their own grant or not. And it also doesn't include the large ranches. So for example, Boy Scouts, they submitted their own grant for just over $9 million. The Flying Horse Ranch submitted a grant for about $2.5 million. And so he's not here, but I do want to give kudos to Rick Smith from the Cimarron Watershed Alliance in pulling that grant together. And I'll tell you, it was actually interesting because Rick kind of started off doing it himself. He asked me for some help, and I did some minimal help. To be honest, I didn't contribute that much. But one of the things I was able to do was call the community members on his behalf. And before you know it, we had 4 or 5 people working on this grant application. So it was really kind of a neat thing to see our community working together. And also, I think it will be the beginnings of a new Firewise effort, hopefully throughout Colfax County. Because we applied this year for about $8.3 million, and we can apply each year for the next 4 years for up to $10 million. So I think especially if we get this grant, which, confidence is high, but you never know. People will see that money coming into the county, being spent in the county for hire contractors to go in and thin forest land, clean up dead fuels, dead and down. And I think that others will see that work and then want to participate as well. And so I think hopefully over the next 4 or 5 years, the forests in this county, we can get predominantly cleaned up and avoid tragedy like what happened in Warren County.
Good job. Thank you for your work, Commissioner. Bobby is not here. The only thing I don't have an actual report other than just to let you know, I work almost daily. If I'm not up here talking with the county manager, I'm on the phone with him. So he gives me as chairman, he gives me a great update on the ongoings of the county and what he's working on. As you all know, that I know that when he came on board, we were behind on a lot of issues, and Monty has caught up on a lot of them, and he's been doing a great job, and he keeps me informed. I gotta tell you, whether it's 7 o'clock in the morning, sometimes it's 7 o'clock at night, that he's calling me, and that he just got out of a meeting and giving me a report on what's been going on, what he's done, who he's met with. I know he's met with you, Anita, a few times, but I've got to say that I'm very pleased that he keeps me informed, because that's part of being a commissioner, I believe, is we as commissioners need to know what's going on also in this county, whatever we, as you can see through the reports that have been given, even by Commissioner Weir, we also in turn let him know what we believe is going on in our district. So and we also take the issue of not only do we represent our district, but we represent all of Colfax County. So even if it's an issue that Commissioner Weir has in his district or Commissioner Ledoux has in his district, we all work together to try to get things accomplished to get done. So I think this commission has worked very well. I want to thank each one of them for the job that they've been doing, and especially our county manager with, I've never seen this much excitement up in this floor. When I come up here to meet with Monty, you can tell they're all doing their job. Tina, everyone else, you ask them to get something done, and get it done immediately. Jonah, I mean, everyone seems to be working in conjunction with each other. I'm glad to see the atmosphere that we have, especially on this third floor right now. And I've got to say this with enthusiasm because I'm going to be leaving at the end of December, and I'm just glad to see that, this whole group, the elected officials, everyone is finding it seems to me as working together, and that's the way it should be. That's the way government and the employees should work. And I have to say this because, I did represent employees for 32 years in my position working for the United Mine Workers. I'm retired now, but I gotta say that, sometimes it's not easy working with each other. But I can see that is finally going on here in this third floor. All the elected officials are working together that I see. So I'm glad that is going on. Things are changing. This county is changing. This county is growing. So I think we have one heck of a county manager right now. And I want to thank him for all the work that he's done. So that's the only report I have. And we'll move on to the manager's docket.
Well, first of all, Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank you. That was quite a compliment and very heartwarming. And I just wanted to know, and just say thank you very much. And I appreciate the kind words. I also want to commend the Board of County Commissioners in coming in as a new manager, and some of the issues that we've had to work on have been extremely challenging. And I just want the board to know that I appreciate the board's integrity, and I appreciate the board's support, and I appreciate the board's unity when we find something like some of the difficult challenges that we have to address. You have stood up and done the hard right versus taking the course of an easy law and letting things slide. So I appreciate that integrity, and I appreciate your leadership. And I know in my heart that we are upholding the public trust and doing the right thing. And anytime you do that, you're not going to go wrong. And so we'll stay the course. I do want to thank the staff that I have. They're doing an excellent job, and we are starting to move forward in a lot of ways that we're being somewhat neglected. I think the fact that we are correcting the GIS E911 system at an extremely rapid rate, and as we all know, that's serious. That's life-saving support going to residents in this county, and we can't sit back and find once again a big challenge. As big a challenge as that is, we have to forge forward, and we have to correct that system so that we provide a safe community for all our citizens. And so when somebody calls 911 to report an emergency, we get the appropriate response there immediately. And I'm really proud of the work that Tabitha and Virginia are doing to correct that system and get it up to par, because that's what we've got to do. And we do want to thank Robert. I know we've had challenges. And I have had Robert have to go out to the airport on multiple times to keep equipment up and keep that airport operating. And it's never busy. I know he's got a lot of work to do, and his crew has a lot of work to do. But they take with a grain of salt, and they go up and they do what needs to be done. And I know I'm taking time away from other things, but I appreciate it. Nick, I think you're doing a good job with the amount of reflector districts that you have. And I know that keeps you exceedingly busy, and appreciate the work there. Once again, Gordon Slade, I appreciate the fact that you're staying on track for getting accredited and that we're making positive changes. And, that facility is in good hands under your stewardship. And I did want to remind the commission and the citizens that we established a revenue source at the jail by housing inmates from other facilities that are overcrowded. And when we do that, it creates workload from the warden, the lieutenants, the sergeants, and down to every officer, an increased workload. And even to the administrative staff that have to schedule court appearances, usually virtual video court appearances for numerous counties throughout the state of New Mexico. And the reason it's a lot of work, and it's a lot more work on everybody else. But the reason we do it is because we are generating a revenue source, but we were able to utilize that revenue source. And I think it's probably in excess of about $350,000 a year, I'd say that conservatively, to increase raises, not only for the detention staff, so that we can keep the jail staff, but those raises also went to the sheriff's office, so that we can stay competitive, especially in a nation right now where a lot of folks aren't wanting to get into law enforcement. So I think the work that you do on the contracts, keeping that revenue source coming in is absolutely vital to the functioning of law enforcement and corrections in our counties. Thank you for that. And other than that, we still have some very good biscuits and sausage out in the lobby here.
Mr. Gore, any questions for the county manager? Comments? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that. Roll call vote.
Deshler.
Yes.
Chairman Fernandez.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.